Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy Simeon Russell. We just seen the Knicks pull off a nice win on the road. Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr. We gonna get this poppin'. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's poppin', my people? Ishmael, Yabo. Look like you new here. Glad to see you here. Cruz, Mike. What's poppin', everybody? If I didn't get to your name, that's cool. Goku, Black Lives Matter. What's poppin' with you, bro? Kyle, Chinky Eye, everybody. Glad to see you. Glad to see the Knicks won. Ignoring your girl for the stream. Hey, man. Be careful with that, brother. Be careful. Please be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want no drama popping off. So let's get right to the boogie, man. Excuse me. Frank versus DSJ, Dennis Smith Jr. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. We've been working on it. Got some more things coming. Frank versus Dennis Smith Jr. It was, it wasn't sparks. I'm sure we didn't expect to have sparks. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Smith Jr. started. Of course, Frank didn't start. But Frank got a lot of playing time and he played well. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Smith Jr., he played well. He played well. But we seen down the stretch, Dennis Smith Jr. was taken out for defensive purposes. Frank was taken out for offensive purposes, I'm assuming. Although I wasn't too happy that Frank was taken out the game. Seemed like Hornacek took him out simply because of that turnover. But hey, what you gonna do? That's what Hornacek does, right? But if you compare them, we'll take a minute. Let's take a minute and just look at the stats between the two. All right. Let's just look at Dennis Smith Jr. because I just want to get it out the way. I know Lily Phillips, what's up, bro? I know you probably got some things you want to say about Dennis Smith Jr. We all got some things we want to say about Frank, so we might as well get it out of the way before we go on with the rest of the show. All right, so let's check out what they did. Frank Ntilikina, 25 minutes, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 2 blocks. That's a nice stat line. All right? Yeah, Frank did good, Ralph. He did good. That's a really nice stat line. Now let's look at Dennis Smith Jr. 24 minutes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers, 2 steals. Although he was a -10, I didn't look to see what Frank was in the plus minus. Let's see what Frank was in the plus minus. Frank was a -2. All right. Whatever that means is what it means. But they both played well. Both did a good job. Neither one of them really shot that well. Kind of a standoff to me. Dennis Smith Jr. had 4 more points than Frank. I think they both had about the same amount of assists. Frank had more rebounds, a couple of blocks, and of course the Knicks won. Right? So, Dennis Smith Jr. fans, what you got to say? Where you at? Where you at? I know you got something to say. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you got to say. Cruz, you say Dennis Smith Jr. had to be benched in the 4th quarter because he couldn't guard Jarrett Jack. That's the truth. Jarrett Jack had 12 points, 8 assists. He was giving it to Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, it's just what it is. Lily Phillips. You know what I'm saying? Jarrett Jack was giving it to Dennis Smith Jr. That's the reason why he was benched in the 4th quarter. A's, you say Dennis Smith Jr. disappeared in the 4th and got benched because he had no impact. He was invisible and can't run plays like a point guard when he doesn't score. I think he got benched because of his defense. He didn't have too much of an impact tonight. That wasn't his, that wasn't what he was. Uh, um, yeah, he didn't have too much of an impact offensively tonight. A couple of points here and there, but he didn't really do too much. You know, overall, to be honest with you, overall, the whole matchup was probably overblown. Knicks fans probably want to see it more than anyone else because we constantly hear about Dennis Smith Jr., should have been drafted and all of this. But it is satisfying that, he didn't go off. Frank had a good night. They both played okay. But, you can see the holes in both of their games, but you can also but you can definitely see the holes in Dennis Smith Jr.'s game as far as, defensively where he is. Right off the bat, right from the beginning of the game, Jarrett Jack was taking it to him, and that's Jarrett Jack. And then, another play, Dougie Fresh switched off onto him, and immediately, boom, Dougie Fresh went back door. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully it'll quiet some people down a little bit. Knicks fans that are harping that the Knicks should have taken Dennis Smith Jr. Hopefully they see this game and say, okay, maybe we need to temper our expectations about Dennis Smith Jr. and raise him a little bit for Frank. Because Frank knows what he's doing out there. He's a good guard. He knows how to play. He knows how to play the game, and he plays defensively. And it's not like his shot and everything is busted. You know what I'm saying? Frank will he'll come around and be able to score eventually. He has good form. He's getting more aggressive. But in the future, we'll see more of this matchup, I'm pretty sure. We'll see more of the matchup, and they'll go at each other a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Frank will be starting. Dennis Smith Jr. be starting. Maybe they'll both play down the stretch. That's where we really want to see it. Wanted to see what's going to happen down the stretch, right? Because we knew neither one of them, they weren't going to play in the beginning of the game against each other. We knew that Frank wasn't going to start. He was coming off the bench. So what we should have been hoping for is that they were going to go against each other down the stretch. Didn't really happen that much down the stretch. So, but they played, they got it out the way. Hopefully we can get it out the way. And the next matchup will be in New York. And in New York, hopefully, I'm hoping that the New York crowd doesn't boo Dennis Smith Jr. because he doesn't deserve that. But in New York, hopefully Frank plays well. And good game, enjoyable to watch. I like watching young guys go ahead and play ball and the rivalries start to grow and bud and those type of things. I like that. That's fun. It's fun to watch. Dino, you said Frank's confident, calm, high basketball IQ, has natural leadership. His skills will eventually develop. I agree with you 100%, wholeheartedly, definitely. I like what Frank brings to the game. Everyone likes what Frank brings to the game. Knicks fans, get a little bit crazy sometimes and don't know what we want as a group. We don't know if we want to have a flashy guy, or if we want to have a guts and chemistry guy. We got the guts, chemistry, and leadership guy, and I'm happy with it. Ryan, you said Frank needs a breakout game. One of these days is going to come. He's going to get he's starting to shoot more. Let me see. Frank took 8 shots tonight. He'll have one of these games where he goes 10 for 15, something like that. He'll take 15 shots and he'll maybe score 20 points or something. It'll happen. We just got to be patient. When we get to that time, when he's finally a starter, we'll see it happen. Yeah, nice drive by Frank. Yep, drove to the basket. He's a little more aggressive finding the shot. Well, we see it. He's getting more aggressive finding the shot. I just wish that Jeff Hornacek wouldn't have such a quick hook. 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I know Frank had a turnover, and it wasn't a good turnover. I guess no turnovers are good, but he had that turnover, and they Dallas came down and scored, but then he took him out immediately, and he was having a good game. Why not let him play? You know, let him play. Let him play a little bit. Can't argue too much because we won a game, but I wish that he wouldn't have such a quick hook on him. He always has a quick hook on him. Brooklyn Child, you say you just subbed the other day. Let's go Knicks. There we go, bro. I'm glad you subbed. I'm glad you're here. You know what I'm saying? We have a good time after every game. Talk a little bit. So, yeah, glad you're here, brother. Yep. So there we have it. We finally got the Dennis Smith Jr. Frank Ntilikina line matchup. We got that out the way, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. But now let's move on to recap. Let's just recap the game a little bit. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina. But let's talk about the game. The referees, I've seen you guys say in the chat, the referees were terrible tonight. Terrible. It was one of the worst ref games that I've seen this season. Tony Crow, I agree with you. Just getting back to Frank for a second, I agree with you. The short leash, it hurts, man. Sometimes you just got to let them go ahead and play. Just let them go ahead and do it. But I guess that's Jeff Hornacek's style of bringing them along, whatever it is. But the referees were terrible tonight. I mean, guys were getting beat up, and they weren't making calls on either end of the floor for either team. They were, there was a point where they could have let this thing get out of hand. But they continued to let the game go, but it was getting rough out there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. The NBA needs to take a look at this game, because the refs, Trayvon, you're right. They always make bad calls on us, but tonight they just let the game get out of hand on both ends, and it was getting ridiculous for a little bit there. It was getting pretty ridiculous for a little bit. The referees are there to control the game, to make sure people play fair. To make sure that people don't get hurt, those type of things, and they did a bad job tonight. And you heard Mike Breen on the call, doing the color commentary, and he was all over the referees. And usually Mike Breen is kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Tries to give the referees the benefit of the doubt, but he couldn't do that tonight because the referees were crazy. Sean, great question. I was on Twitter asking that same question. Cantor, check out my man Cantor, man. 25 minutes, 13 points, 18 rebounds. Okay, he had 4 turnovers. I get it. But he was gobbling up the boards, man. He was scoring in the post almost at will, at least in the first half. I don't understand Jeff Hornacek and the reason why he doesn't give Cantor some minutes down the stretch. I'm sorry. I do understand. Defensively, he has some setbacks or some drawbacks. But what he brings on the other side of the floor, and what he brings as far as offensive and defensive rebounding, I mean, we need it. And you see, during the end of games, one of the reasons Porzingis is having problems is because we don't have an anchor on the floor. See, when Cantor's on the floor, he's an anchor, right? You can throw the ball down into anchor. He's going to get double-teamed, triple-teamed sometimes. He can push that thing back out. We can swing the ball. And then KP can catch the ball in a position where he can catch and shoot. He can catch and shoot from the high post. He can catch and shoot from the mid post. He can catch and shoot from the 3, because because Cantor draws he draws that attention in the post. You know what I'm saying? But we don't utilize that in the fourth quarter, and I think that's part of the reason why we're having so many offensive struggles in the fourth quarter, because we're not using Cantor, and we're missing that anchor. We're missing a big piece of what we do. Yeah, Ronald. Cantor has nice, good footwork. He has a nice touch in that post area. You know what I'm saying? And we need to utilize that. Put him out there, see what happens. If he starts messing up and he's not playing defense the way he should be playing defense, or whatever it is, then take him out. You can take him out of the game. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he should. I think that he needs to give him some more burn down the stretch, man. You say, Sir Patrick Mack, you say, I agree. A fiery rim protector would allow KP to be the graceful unicorn that he is. When KP has to function down low, he gets tired and frustrated. Exactly. When Cantor's in the game, he draws attention. That's another guy that teams are going to respect offensively because they know he can score the ball. All right. Now, teams will probably go small to try to neutralize Cantor and force Hornacek to take him out of the game. That's an issue that we have to deal with. But I think you give Cantor a go and just see. And if it's not working, then you take him out. But Cantor, he gives us so much. He had 7 offensive rebounds tonight, 11 defensive rebounds. When he gives you that kind of production, you need the guy on the floor. You need him on the floor. You say, how about KP man up? But the thing is, CP the artist, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? KP needs to get stronger. Hey, KP took some bad shots down the stretch tonight. He didn't pull this game out for us at all. It wasn't KP. He had a good game, 29 points, 8 rebounds. Still only shot 36% from the field, but he had a decent game. But you're seeing down the stretch, he's not able to really pull these games out. And part of it is because he needs some help. He's out there. He was out there tonight with Jarrett Jack, Courtney Lee, KP. Who else was out there? I think Lance was out there, and maybe McDermott. Oh, Kylo Quinn. I'm sorry. Kylo Quinn had a heck of a game tonight. 15 points, 11 rebounds. But he still doesn't draw the attention the same way that that Cantor draws the attention. I think Cantor needs to be out there on the floor at some point during crunch time. He needs to be out there on the floor. Oh, yeah, Tony Crow, that 2-minute report is going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy 2-minute report. I'm anxious to see that one. So let's just take a look at the matchup a little bit. We led the whole game from front to back. That was nice. Even though we gave up a 13-point lead, we pulled it back in, so that was nice. Dallas never led. We shot 46.3% from the field. We held Dallas to 38% shooting. We shot 37.5% from 3. We still only shot 16 3-point shots. All right, we still need to work on getting that up a little bit. Dallas shot 24 3-point shots. We held them below what they did. I think when we checked them out in the last show, they actually average about 32 3-point shots a game. So we did a good job defending that 3-point line. One of the few nights that we could say that, but we did a good job defending that 3-point line. We shot, we went to the basket. We got to the basket a little bit. Actually, Cantor got to the foul line. KP got to the line a little bit, I believe. 20 free throws, shot 90%. That's good. Let's see who got to the line. Let's check that out. Porzingis went to the line 8 times. Oh, Cantor only went twice. Courtney Lee went to the line 4 times. So it was mainly KP getting to the line tonight. Mainly off of he did, especially in the first half. KP did it. He did a nice job getting to the basket and getting in his spots and getting some shots off. But you notice that happens when Cantor is out there on the floor with him. Yeah, we killed. Let's go back and look at that matchup on the boards. 59-40 on the boards. Yep, we dominated. Cantor had 18 boards. I seen somebody say something. I think it was Mark. Who's Mark? I think you said you just mentioned a while back in the chat about Dallas's offensive sets. I was looking at that, and their offensive sets, man, yeah, and they get to the spots where they need to be as well, and they look sharp. And believe it or not, that helps Dennis Smith Jr. When people look at the scoring differential between Frank and Dennis Smith Jr., some of that has to do with coaching and the sets that they had because and the way players run the sets. I can't pinpoint what exactly it is about Dallas. Probably defense because the defense is terrible. Dennis Smith Jr. is part of that, but they look crisp on offense sometimes. A lot of times they're crisp, and that's something that we're not. We're not as crisp. You know what I mean? And I think it's something that we need to work on. That we need to work on being more crisp. We don't set really good screens. You know what I'm saying? We kind of, especially KP. KP never really sets good screens. He just kind of brushes and looks to pop. You know what I'm saying? He needs to set harder screens sometimes. His pin down sometimes look weak. I seen a video yesterday where, his pin down was just, I believe it was Jack called the play out, told KP to go pin him down. And he didn't even set a screen. He just went there. So that's something that he needs to work on. I think he needs to work on setting good screens because not only is that going to help the team, but it's going to help him. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to set good screens, those screens become effective in freeing up other players, of course. You know what I'm saying? And freeing up himself, freeing up the person he's screening for. When you're just kind of setting a lazy screen, because he's not really slipping the screens. I had someone, I don't know when it was, leave a comment before and say, well, KP is slipping the screen. Because of who he is, it's good for him to slip the screen because of the way he plays. But he doesn't really slip the screen. You know what I'm saying? He's not really slipping the screen. He goes there and brushes the guy and then pops. He doesn't even roll to the basket. KP barely ever rolls to the basket off of a screen and roll. If you slip in the screen, that means you're going up. You're not even setting the screen. You're going up like you're going to set the screen, and then you roll. Right? Because the reason why you slip it is because when you go up like you're going to set the screen, your defender goes up high to try to hedge the screen, and so then you slip it and cut to the basket. He doesn't even do that. He just kind of brushes the guy and then pops. So we need to get KP setting some good hard screens. You know what I'm saying? Strong screens, especially if he's going to be one of the main guys scoring off of those screens. And we need to get him rolling to the basket as well. That way we get some more movement. But and then that'll help spread the floor out too. Because if you got KP rolling to the basket, that's going to draw some attention. You know what I'm saying? Teams are going to collapse on that. And we talk about we're not getting enough three-point shots up. If KP is rolling to the basket, then you're going to have guys either down, guys on the wings, or guys down in the corners open because people are going to collapse because they don't want KP rolling to the basket. That if he's rolling and rolling hard, they don't want KP rolling to the basket hard, getting easy layups or easy dunks. You know what I'm saying? So those 3-point shots will open up a little bit. But so we got to get KP doing a little bit more than just picking and popping. He's got to pick and roll, and then he's got to set good screens. I seen someone, I don't know who it was, just say you're bugging. I don't know if he was talking to me or who he was talking to, but if he was talking to me about what I was saying about KP, I'd like to hear what your point of view is. Who's Mark said, wish we would have got Kyrie. That would have been crazy if we would have got Kyrie. If we would have been able to get Kyrie and still have KP and Frank, I don't know how that would have worked, but if that would have happened, that would have been nuts. But A's, Frank, KP, PNR should be a Knicks bread and butter. It should be. I think it will be sometime in the future. You know what I mean? What I do notice is that, Frank is really good in that PNR, right? He's really good in the pick and roll. And he's patient. He doesn't just, okay, I'm off the screen. Now let me hurry up and find a pass to someone. No, he's patient. And he sees what opens up. And he's able to pick out his options. And his passes are like his passes are on point most of the time and crisp. And he understands when he's got to put a little bit of strength on it, when he can float it. He's got a good touch with the ball. You know what I'm saying? Mike Murphy, yeah, it was you. No, you said I'm not bugging, so you was talking to someone else. I was just wondering what it was what it was you were saying, so we could talk about it a little bit. It's cool. I wasn't tripping. I'm just saying, I wanted to know what it was. But you said it wasn't me, so cool. But yeah, Frank is definitely good in that screen and roll. And I think with KP, I think he's good with KP as well. I noticed that when he does a screen and roll with KP, he comes off and he finds, for whatever reason, KP is wide open a lot of times from that 3-point line. When him and Frank run that screen and roll. And I think it's because even though Frank hasn't been going to the basket off the screen and roll, the threat still seems like it's there for him to go to the basket, and defenses are respecting it. Now, if he doesn't start utilizing it and going to the basket, then defenses might not respect it. But I think they've seen enough of what he can do coming off the screen and roll and who he can pass to that they respect that. And that's part of the reason why KP is open a lot. But I think that will end up being a bread and butter of the Knicks at some point. And if it's not KP, it'll be somebody else, that steps up. Even with Beasley, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times they set the screen for Beasley, but then Beasley rolls down into the post. Then they hit it to him in the post. But Kawhi Jennings, you say Frank keeps defenses honest, though, like he did have that nice finish high off the glass. Yeah, he does. Exactly. He does just enough to keep defenses honest. Even though he's not scoring up a storm, he does enough to keep defenses honest. He takes enough jumpers to keep them honest. Goes to the basket enough time to make them say, I better play defense. And sooner or later he'll start doing it a little bit more. But I'm glad we got the win tonight. We had, 22 assists. Not bad. For still 6 blocks. Frank had 2 of those blocks. 16 turnovers. Dallas only had 7 turnovers. But, we didn't play bad. We played a decent game for most of the game. Hopefully we can bring this back. We got what should be a win. I think we play Wednesday. Let me see. Yeah, we play Wednesday night at home against Chicago. We'll talk about that a little bit. That should be a win, and maybe we can start inching back to evening up our record. We've been here before, but then we go to Minnesota. But hey, let's not even think about that. We'll think about be happy that we got this win. Go get this win in Chicago, build our confidence up, and then go try to get that one in Minnesota. Tony Crow, you say Kylo Quinn is going to get a nice raise. I think we trade him. You know what? Kylo Quinn went out tonight. He said, "Oh, you guys think about trading me? Watch this." Right? And went out and handled his business tonight. But, he might. Billy might get traded, though, as well. I don't want to say as well. I don't know. But Billy might get traded. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later in the trade rumors, but it was surprising that Billy got in so early tonight. And I'm looking at that and saying maybe that's, they're trying to showcase him a little bit. Get him out there, let teams see him a little bit. We'll see. Something's going to happen. I think something's going to happen. I think something's definitely going to happen. Let's talk about Tim Hardaway Jr. a little bit. We got a little bit of update from Tim Hardaway Jr. Well, not from him, but about Tim Hardaway Jr. From what we understand, he could be back around the 18th. You probably seen in the pregame, during the pregame show, or not the pregame show, during the game, he was working out. He was able to have some physical contact. So that's a good thing that he was able to have some physical contact. We are what now? We are, we're 2 games below 500. If we can find a way, to just tread water until Tim Hardaway comes back, and then maybe we can, make a push, sometime, make a real push, especially after the All-Star break. But if we need to tread water, keep treading water until Tim Hardaway comes back. But he's working out, and I'm trying to pull the video up right now. Tim Hardaway, but I'm sure you've seen some video of him anyway. So we got Tim. You see Tim Hardaway here, just getting a little workout in. Getting some things in against Ron Baker. He did some more working out. He worked out a little bit before the game. So hopefully we get him back. It looks like he's strong on it. You do see he has a wrap around it, to keep it warm. It has some protection on it. So hopefully we get Tim Hardaway back soon. Definitely when he does come back, he's going to be it's going to take him a little bit of time to get in. But let me ask you, what do you expect when Tim Hardaway comes back? What are you all expecting from Tim Hardaway as he comes back? I expect that it's going to be kind of a slow. They're going to have to bring him back. They're going to have to bring him back into the game kind of slow. That's Stephen Bondy. Is where I got the video from. All right. Straight from his Twitter page. They're going to have to work him back in kind of slow. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't been playing. I mean, you can work out all you want, but that doesn't mean you're in game shape. I don't want to put too much pressure on him coming back. I want him to work himself into the game. They'll probably, I'm thinking that the coaching staff will probably have, work out a little bit, practice with the team a little bit whenever we can get some practices, and then have him come back. Do you think he starts right away? Do you think he comes right back and starts, or do you think they bring him off the bench? What's you guys' thoughts on that? I see someone say, Jason Emby said, Tim Hardaway was very inconsistent. Jason, you know what? You're right. He was inconsistent, especially in the beginning of the season, but he started to pick it up when he came back. You know what I'm saying? He started to pick it up, and he started to go to the basket more. That was one of the knocks I really had on him at the beginning of the season, is that he wasn't going to the basket. He was just kind of a three-point shooter and a transition guy. But then he started going to the basket. And that really opened up the game for us when he started going to the basket. And hopefully he can come back and give us that. I see some of you guys saying that it needs to be a process when Tim Hardaway comes back. And I tend to agree. I don't think you bring him back and just put him right in the game. I mean, you're gonna play him. I don't think you bring him back and just, okay, you're starting. We're leaning on you now. I think you got to give him a little bit of time to get back. Justin, you say he'll be 100% by February. Don't rush him. I agree. We don't want to rush him along because we want to make sure that leg is strong. Because if we plan on making a playoff push, we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him healthy. We're gonna need him strong. You said maybe start him. Angel, you said don't rush him. Maybe start him with limited minutes. Maybe so. Maybe so. But how do you see our game changing when Hardaway gets back? I mean, we all know. We've been talking about it. We know we're going to get more transition buckets. The way we've played has changed over these last 18, 19 games. We rely a little bit more on Beasley now. And that's something that, Tim Hardaway is going to be kind of working his way back into a team that has changed his identity a little bit. Right? Because now you got Beasley, who, you kind of got to get it to him and let him score a little bit. Get it to him in the post and those things. We knew about Cantor, and then Tim Hardaway is going to want to get his shots up. So how is that going to? Yep, Bilal, you said more threes. We'll definitely get more threes. We'll definitely play at a faster pace. Say Baker probably loses minutes. True. Yep. Our transition offense is going to look a lot better because Tim Hardaway really did push it up the floor and try to score in transition. We'll see how the mix works with him and Beasley. If him and Beasley are on the floor together, we'll see how that mix works. With Beasley, because now if we have a lineup where there's Hardaway, KP, Beasley, and Cantor on the floor, we're gonna see how that works with ball movement. Beasley is with the second unit, but he still gets some playing time with the starters. He still gets some playing time with, lately he's been getting some playing time with KP. He's been getting playing time down the stretch, right? Lately. So if he's getting playing time down the stretch, then you're going to see lineups down the stretch where it's KP, Beasley, Hardaway. Probably not Cantor from what we've seen so far, but that'll have to work itself out as well. Say can't play Tim Hardaway, KP, and Beasley. Why not, Jason? You don't think that they can find a way to work together, those three? Beasley has been willing to pass the ball. I know that, getting assists and those things, that hasn't been Beasley's calling card throughout his career. But this year, he's been willing to pass the ball. He's moved the ball a little bit when people are open. Now, does he ISO? Yes, he does. I'm not saying he doesn't ISO. I'm not saying he doesn't ISO, but he has been willing to move the ball and find people. So what you're saying to me, Jason, is that you don't think those three can form a chemistry coming down the stretch. Play Dotson. Well, I mean, Dotson had his chances, and I'm all for Dotson. I really do like Dotson. He had his chances. He didn't pull it out. But he'll get his chance again. Lily Phillips, you say Hardaway and Beasley brings a lot of firepower to this team. They definitely do. And, so the question is going to be, earlier in the season, Beasley wasn't getting as many minutes. While when Hardaway was here, Beasley wasn't getting as many minutes. His minutes were touch and go. Sometimes you got minutes, sometimes you didn't. So now that Beasley is a little bit more, we depend on him a little bit more in that lineup. And when Tim Hardaway comes back, there's going to be an adjustment there for them two guys playing with each other. So we'll see how that goes. Marty, you say you forgot Tim Hardaway Jr. and Beasley can't play defense. Tim Hardaway Jr. has played a lot better defense this year. I've got to give him credit. He plays a lot better defense than when he was here the first time around. And Mike Beasley is he's coming around defensively. He makes some mistakes, and people are going to make their mistakes, but he's coming around defensively. You know what I'm saying? He's working hard defensively, and I think he's trying to get better defensively. But we'll see, Jason. We'll see if that works. It may not work. Having playing Tim Hardaway. Yeah, you're right about that, Jason. Tim Hardaway loses shooters. He definitely does. That fires me up too. He loses shooters a lot. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say about it because he does lose shooters a lot. I'll definitely give you that. He loses them wide open. But Jason, we'll see what happens. See if they can work it out, because I believe that they're all willing passers, and the fact that KP doesn't pass as much. KP gets the ball a lot of times just going up. If he gets on the mid post, man, sometimes I'm like, pass the ball, swing it, get it out, and he's letting it up. But Beasley too, he's usually going for it, but he'll pass the ball. So we'll see if that works, and if not, then you might be right, Jason. You might be right. I'm just wondering if it can work. If Hornacek was Popovich and it could work, you're probably right about that. I'm 100% sure you're right about that. Because Popovich, you're gonna play Popovich's way or not at all. Tony Crow, you say Tim Hardaway Jr. leads the Knicks in threes made and attempted, still with missed games. That's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy, B. That is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because, he's been out for 18 games. How many, let's see how many, I don't know if I can get the breakdown right now of how many threes he attempts per game. He's got to be shooting at least 4 or 5 per game. So maybe that puts us up now to shooting 25, 26 per game. Still one of the lowest in the league. We've got to, he's definitely going to help us in that 3-point area, though. But also, and our 3-point shots they'll go up with him being back. They could go up even more, because when you have a guy like Tim Hardaway pulling for 3, it's going to open up the lanes a little bit more. And so then we're going to be able to get a little bit more penetration, and then, boom, we'll be able to open up some other guys for 3. So we'll see how well that opens it up, how much it opens it up. I seen someone ask, when is Tim Hardaway coming back? Well, the reports are that possibly around the 18th, the 17th or the 18th, he could be back. That's what he's shooting for. I know he said he was shooting for Christmas, and then he was shooting for the game in Miami. Now it looks like he's shooting for sometime in the 18th or somewhere around there. Let me see. So he would maybe be coming back against the Grizzlies or against the Jazz or something, somewhere around there. Maybe against the Grizzlies or Jazz. That's the way it looks right now. So hopefully we get him back. And then, of course, it's going to be a process working him back in. You said, what do I think about Jahlil Okafor? Well, I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think Okafor has potential. He's a beast down low. You know what I'm saying? His footwork is tremendous. He has a nice touch. I'm sure he has some things as far as character to work on. And if somebody can get a mentor for Okafor and teach him how to play defense a little bit better, someone's gonna get a heck of a player. And I think that's what the Nets trying to do with Okafor, right? That's what they're trying to do with him. So he's a work in progress. But if someone can get Okafor, help get him together, a mentor, someone that can help get him together, he needs to be with someone like Okafor needs to be with someone like Greg Popovich or Doc Rivers. You know what I'm saying? You get him with someone like that, someone who's really going to be a disciplinarian and keep him in check and keep him in line. Make sure he's working hard. There could be something with Okafor, really could, because offensively, I mean, the kid, his footwork and his hands is so soft. He's got a lot of touch, man. He could be deadly. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, maybe he ruined the Clippers. Doc Rivers. What happened there, Kawhi? When they made him the president and the coach, or however that whole thing, that's when you really had the issues. You know what I'm saying? But I think Doc Rivers. I think Doc Rivers is a good coach, and I think that he can teach guys. He can teach some young guys how to play ball. I really do think he can do that. The Clippers just had a team that, I mean, they I don't know. They didn't. They I don't know. They had a lot of talent, but they didn't have. I guess they didn't have some ingredients to make it. And then you were playing in the West with with teams like Golden State and San Antonio and all those teams. That was tough for. That was a tough position for the Clippers to be in. When you look at the players that they had, but they still didn't have everything that they needed to get over top. And you had a player like Chris Paul who is demanding what you need, and they didn't really respond to that. Some of those guys didn't respond to Chris Paul the way maybe they should have. And if they did, maybe they would have been better. You said the news on Hardaway. Yeah, so what it is with Hardaway is, he's been working out. He's been able to take some physical contact. And I'm talking someone who just asked the question. He's been able to take some physical contact, and maybe he's going to come back around the week of the 17th, somewhere around there. So maybe around the Memphis-Utah game, he comes back. So let's move on to trade rumors. All right. Of course, we know about Kylo Quinn. That he's been shopped. The Knicks have looked to see if, who's interested. Kylo Quinn has an opt out. We've talked about it. With performances like tonight, it definitely raises his value, and I still don't think we get a first round pick for Kylo Quinn because, he has nights like this, but then he has nights where, he's not doing much at all, but Kylo Quinn is a really good player, and I really would hate to lose Kylo Quinn because I think Kylo Quinn he gives us some grit. He just gives us some grit that we need and some fight and some hustle and energy. I really would hate to trade him, but the business side always kicks in, and if Kylo Quinn is definitely going to opt out, I think, because even though he may not go to a team where he's going to be a starter, I think Kylo Quinn is going to be worth more than $4 million a year. So I think he's going to opt out. And if he opts out, then we have to make the decision if we're going to re-sign him. Right. We got 4 bigs. Somebody got to go. Then we got to make a decision if we're going to re-sign him. And can we afford to re-sign him for what another team may offer him? And is he going to be worth it to us, given the guys that we already have? So that's going to be, that's a lot of, there's some decisions we've got to make about Kylo Quinn, and that's Cantor, Billy Hernan Gomez. We really got to make some decisions about those guys, and that's not going to be easy. The Kylo Quinn situation is tricky, man, because he definitely gives you production. He like we said, he's a fighter. He brings his lunch pail and hard hat to work every game. And sometimes he has good games, and sometimes he doesn't. But the more he does what he does, teams want him, especially teams that are in playoff contention or feel like maybe they are finals contenders. They want somebody like Kylo Quinn. So it is a sticky situation, a rough situation for us. And part of the reason why it's such a rough situation is because of Joakim Noah. Because we know that we can't move Joakim Noah, and we have Joakim Noah's contract, and we owe Joakim Noah $17 million. If we didn't have Joakim Noah's contract, and if KO decided to opt out, then we could probably re-sign him for what the market demanded of him, or with whatever his market value is, we'd be able to re-sign him there. But given the fact that we have Joakim Noah, it's hurting. It hurts us with situations like Kylo Quinn and Cantor. Now, hopefully Cantor doesn't opt out. Or maybe hopefully he does. I don't know. I guess it depends on what your opinion is. Some people may feel like Cantor's not the future. Let him opt out. We can use that $17 million elsewhere. I tend to think that Cantor is a big reason that we've had the success that we've had so far. He can be someone for the future. Now, he does make a good amount of money, but look, tonight he gave us 13 points and 18 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely, that's, if Joakim Noah was giving us 13 points and 18 rebounds, everyone would be like going crazy for him, So, and people are like that with Cantor. So, he's making $17 million a year. But I think he's worth that $17 million a year. He's averaging a double-double. He's actually, for big men in the league, in the East, Cantor is actually, I think he was 10th in voting for the All-Star game, I believe. See if I can pull up what the All-Star voting looks like right now. I seen it somewhere, but yeah, Cantor was like I think he was like 10th in the East for forwards or however they for front court players. He was like 10th in the East. That's not bad. He's probably not going to. No, not overall voting Kawhi. Not overall. He was 10th in for front court players in the East. Okay. Let's see if I can pull it up. Current. Justin, all right, that's funny. That's funny. You say Noah's contract is worth in child support for an ex-con. That okay. That's funny, bro. That's funny. But you say he's ninth. Okay, Ariel. Yeah, he's ninth. So he's ninth in the East. That's not bad. You know what I'm saying? And is he gonna make the All-Star team? Probably not, but you don't need him to. All we need him to do is play at an All-Star level. You don't have to be an All-Star player. Just you don't have to play on an All-Star team. Just play at an All-Star level. So he's worth that $17 million a year. And I so we're in a tricky situation when it comes to Kylo Quinn, Cantor, and Noah. Part of it is because of Noah's contract. Now, Billy Hernan Gomez, from what I've read in multiple reports, there are teams that are interested. And that may be one of the reasons that, Cantor, I'm going to go back to Cantor for 1 second. Yes, Bronx, Cantor is getting less minutes. And sometimes I wonder, and maybe these are just conspiracy theories but I wonder, are they keeping his minutes down so that his value isn't as high, then he won't opt out? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if you played Cantor more, he would average more than 13 points a game. I really feel like that. I feel like Cantor can be at 18. Cantor can average 18 points and 14 rebounds a game if you played him down the stretch. Now if he averaged 18 points and 14 rebounds a game, he's probably going to opt out. So sometimes I wonder, are they keeping his minutes down so that he doesn't opt out? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just, starting rumors. Who knows? But sometimes I do understand about the matchups with, him being able to play the perimeter. But there are times when I'm just like, put that man in the game because we need his rebound. We need him to score in the post. And, he's sitting out there. He's sitting on the bench. Kawhi, you said that's plausible about Cantor because his numbers would definitely be higher if he played more. Exactly. They'd definitely be higher. And I've seen him have a few defensive lapses here and there. But for the most part, he's played decent defense. So Mighty Knicks, you say they don't want to hurt his back. I don't know where he is. That could be true as well. I don't know where he is right now with his back. I think that he hopefully he's healed some in his back, is a little bit better. But here we go. Knicks Billy Hernan Gomez drawing heavy trade interest. Right? And they talk about it here. They said, with the Knicks exploring what to do with their 4-center glut by the February 8 trading deadline, NBA sources say the club has entertained more inquiries about Billy Hernan Gomez than any other player on the roster. The Knicks do not want to give up the 23-year-old. There we go. Take that down. The Knicks do not want to give up the 23-year-old Hernan Gomez, who is out of the rotation behind starter and as Cantor and Kylo Quinn, unless they get a prime talent in return. So far, they haven't gotten any concrete offers, But teams that have been high on European players in the past have shown the most interest. The Knicks prefer to deal Carlo Quinn, who likely will opt out of his contract, and they have gotten only mild interest from a few playoff contending teams who see him as a backup piece. The dilemma is the less Hernan Gomez plays, who has appeared in just 17 games and has not played in 15 of the last 19 games, the further his trade value goes down. But for now, there is heavy interest, and the Knicks likely wouldn't settle for anything less than a first rounder. And then it goes on to say that Steve Mills is especially attached to Hernan Gomez because he lobbied to draft him in the second round in 2015. So it's nice to know that the Knicks aren't going to settle for anything less than a first rounder for Billy. It makes me wonder how much they are considering trading him because, he got in early tonight, right? Yeah, he got in pretty early tonight, and as soon as he got in, my first thought was, are they trying to show him off? Are they showcasing him? Are they putting him out there so other teams can see him? Are they hoping that he, plays well so the other teams, to boost his value? Then he played some in the fourth quarter, I believe, as well. Played some late minutes. So, Tony Crow, you say the Spurs, Grizzlies, and Nuggets are interested in Billy Hernan Gomez. I think Jeff is showcasing Carlo Quinn and Hernan Gomez. Spurs have their first round. It could be. I think we're gonna see some changes. By the trade deadline. I don't know. But between Billy Hernan Gomez and Carlo Quinn, one of them's probably gonna go. Emmanuel, you say it's mind games. He's most likely out of here. Are you talking about Billy? Talking about Billy being most likely out of here? I mean, he could be. And, we all know, we've seen the reports that he's not entirely happy with not playing. But if he goes to a team like the Spurs, he's not going to play much. They'll put him on the bench. They may even send him down to their G League affiliate. They'll develop him. And then when Pau Gasol is ready to retire, they'll have Billy step right in. Something like that. That's the way the Spurs do. That's how they do it. I could definitely see that happening with Billy Hernan Gomez. Billy, okay, Emmanuel. So you're saying Billy's gonna go in the trade? It's possible. It's definitely possible. And if he does, okay. So if Billy goes in the trade, what would you want for him? I know if Billy went in a trade, I definitely look for a first round pick, or I look for a first round pick or something comparable. If I could find a 3-man, a young 3-man, I'd want to get a young 3-man. Ronald, hey Ronald, I'm gonna tell you what. They're not trading Brandon Ingram. You can guarantee that. I'd love to have Brandon Ingram, but they're not trading him. Yeah, Ariel, definitely a small forward. We definitely need a small forward. A true small forward, Emmanuel, see, you say clear cap or a pick. Now, I don't know how much cap you're gonna clear with him, because he's not making that much. We'll pull up. Let's pull up the. Let's pull up the real fast. Let's see. Let's check this out right here. Now, Billy Hernan Gomez is making, where is he? 1.4 million this year. right? And then we got him signed all the way till 2019, 2020. And he makes around the same 1.4, then 1.5, then 1.5 and a half. So you're not going to clear that much cap space unless you're able to package someone like Noah with him, right? I doubt that's going to happen. Would you do this if a team was willing to not? But see, it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen because you got to match salaries. I was going to say if a team was willing to take Willy Hernangomez, but they'll also take Noah, and all we get back is maybe like a second-round draft pick, would you do that? But the team would have to match his contract, so we'd have to take back somebody. So that's probably not even going to happen. They'd have to match Noah's contract too. So you could throw that out the window. Forget about that. Yeah, Willy has a good contract, especially if he would have been playing this year and giving us a double-double. I mean, his value, Jason, would have been off the charts. You know what I'm saying? At $1.4 million. His value would have been off the charts if he would have been able to play and give us that double-double. So we're probably looking at another young player or a draft pick, especially if the Knicks really do want to bring up Trey Burke. Then they may just want to trade him for a draft pick. That way it opens up a roster spot. So there are definitely different things that the Knicks can do to to clean up that center glut and open up the roster a little bit more. I see someone mention Wilson Chandler. I like Wilson Chandler, Mike Hawks. I definitely like Wilson Chandler. My only issue with Wilson Chandler is that if we're going young and we're looking to be a young team, I think we have enough vets on the team, and Wilson Chandler is not exactly that young anymore. He's been in the league for 7 years. And he's I think he's in his late 20s or something like that. And I'm not saying that, that's old, but if we're going to trade a young guy like Willy, I'd rather get another young guy back. Now, if we're going to trade an old guy, then I'd be okay with taking an old guy back that was on a short contract or something like that. But if we're going to trade a young guy and Willy Hernangomez, we better get back a draft pick or another young guy. I'd be looking. I'd be looking to have. I'd be looking for a 3-man that's young, 25 and under. That gets up and down the floor, is long, can shoot the three, and play defense, or at least has the ability to develop into that kind of player. I wouldn't trade him for anyone. Yeah, Marty, I wouldn't trade Willy Hernangomez for anyone over 25. Now, you got to have some vets on the team, and we got enough of them. We got Courtney Lee, we got Jarrett Jack, we got Joakim Noah. Michael Beasley is kind of a vet, at least in age. A young vet. So we got some vets on the team. Kyle Quinn is 27 years old. He's a vet. Lance Thomas is a vet. We have enough vets on the team. We need young guys. Okay, Chicken Bark, you say we trade Raymond and Willy for Kelly Oubre and a second-round pick. Now, do the Wizards want Raymond Sessions? And are they willing to trade Kelly Oubre? You know what I'm saying? We can say who we want all day long. I really like Kelly Oubre, though, Chicken Bark. I really do. I like Kelly. I think, he's an up-and-coming player in this league. And I would love to have him playing with the Knicks. But any trade that we're looking at, we got to look at the other team's perspective as well. Because other teams, a trade has to work out for everyone. Pull-ups, so Justin, you say pull up Sacramento. They have some nice young wings. Let's check out their salaries. All right, let's do it. Sacramento. Their salary cap is at this. They got $90 million of salaries. It's not bad. So here they go. Just imagine, guys. We almost had George Hill. Phil Jackson was gonna sign George Hill, and this is George Hill demanded $20 million this year, $19 million in 2018-19, $18 million in 1920. Phil Jackson was gonna sign him to mentor Frank Ntilikina. Now, I'm not saying that he's a bad mentor, but I mean, we basically got the same guy in Jarrett Jack on a non-guaranteed deal. Just imagine that, though. We were gonna sign him instead of Tim Hardaway Jr. That's what Phil was looking to do. Isn't that something? And Jarrett Jack, Scott Perry was looking at bringing Jarrett Jack to Sacramento. So let's see who we have up here. Now they're not going to give up anybody too young, because they're a team that's trying to grow as well. They're a team that's they're rebuilding as well, so they're not going to give up anything too young. And they already got they got bigs. If you're talking about trading Billy Hernangomez or Kylo Quinn, you got Zach Randolph, who is in the last year of his contract. You got Kufos. You got Willie Cauley-Stein. So they've got some bigs as well. Remember, we're trying to trade bigs. Yep, Jack is guaranteed now. He's guaranteed. He didn't get waived, so his contract is now guaranteed. Let's see if I got an email about that today. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything. And as someone pointed out to me, I'm not sure if Scott Perry make deals with Sacramento right now. I don't know. Someone made a point in one of the comment sections that Scott Perry can't make any deals with Sacramento for a year. That may be true. He may not be able to make deals with Sacramento right now. So I agree with you, Mike. Willie Cauley-Stein would be really nice. He would be really nice with us. He would fit nicely next to Porzingis and some guys in there. But I don't think they're trading Willie Cauley-Stein. So we'll look and see what's going to happen. There, our roster, maybe the tail end of our roster, and maybe Kylo Quinn is going to look different coming up. Yeah, Randall is in a small forward. He's a power forward / center. So we'd be on the hunt, looking around the league for a young small forward. That can 25 and under. Even if we can get younger than 25, that's great for me. I'm with that. But 25 and younger, and can play some defense, get up and down the floor. Someone who has the ability to turn into a defensive guy, a three-point shooter, athletic. That's the kind of guys that we need. Someone that can really get after it. I keep seeing people talk about Tyreke Evans. And I know he's probably up for on the trading block. You know, is Tyreke where does Tyreke? How old is Tyreke Evans? Because I keep hearing about Tyreke Evans. You know, people want Tyreke Evans. You know, Tyreke Evans is 28 years old. He's 6'6", so you're not even looking at a truly long shooting guard. I mean, small forward. You know, you're looking at someone who is basically like Tim Hardaway Jr. You know what I'm saying? He's not a long. When I'm saying a long small forward, man, I mean, I want someone that's like 6'8", 6'9", long, athletic. You know, Tyreke Evans really, he's not that guy to me. You know, he's averaging 19 points a game, right? Tyreke Evans right now is averaging 19 points a game, 4 assists, 5 steals. Last 10 games, he's shooting 45% from the field, 23 points per game. I mean, his stats look really nice. Not gonna lie, stats look nice. You know, but what's his? I mean, I guess we can take a look at what his we'll take a look at what and see what his salaries are. But then if you're looking at what he's making now, right? 19 points a game. I mean, what he's doing now, 19 points a game, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. You know, that's decent production. 45% from the field. It's not bad. Well, that's in the last 10 games. For the season, he's 47% from the field. He's shooting 41% from 3. So he's having a decent season. We'll give it to him. Right? He's having a decent season. Let's take a look at his salary. So Tyreke Evans, wow. Now, okay. Tyreke Evans is making $3 million a year. He has crazy value. Now, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know that he was only making $3 million a year. Now, why would Memphis want to trade him? And if they do want to trade him, they're probably going to want a first round draft pick. And then if you trade him, where's he fitting? Where's he coming into? What happens with the team? Where's he coming in? Because he's more of a shooting guard. He's not a too small forward. He's 6'6". You know what I'm saying? But then what happened? You know, what happens? Where does he fit with the team? You know, because Memphis, they're gonna want something with the production that he's putting out. 19 points a game, 47% from the field, 41% from 3. No, they're not gonna make the playoffs, but the value that they're getting from Tyreke Evans for $3 million, exactly, Rudy. 19 points a game, you're getting $150 million a year these days. And he's getting $3 million a year. You know. And so next year he's looking to get paid. Right? So so you have to ask yourself, I understand where you're coming from, SAK. I definitely understand where you're coming from. That's a great value. $3 million a year, averaging 19 points per game. That's an unbelievable value for a veteran. You know, usually that's what you get in a rookie, right? You have a rookie that's averaging, that might be averaging that, and they're only getting $3 million a year. There's a veteran doing this, right? But then what do you think he's going to want next year? And if we trade for him, and we trade whatever. somebody, we trade a young player or first round draft pick or something like that for him, which we're not going to trade a first round draft pick, but we trade for him. Now we gave up a young talent for someone that we may not be able to pay. And the reason why I'm saying we won't be able to pay him is because, well, our salary cap is jam packed right now. Our cap is packed, and if we could afford to, bring him in at $3 million a year, but then he may want 15 next year because his contract ends this year. He may want 15 next year. Then we won't be able to pay him. And even if we were able to go over the cap, it wouldn't be worth it given the fact that we're a rebuilding team. So we've got to look at some things like that. We got to think about those type of things, because what we want to do is we want to collect young talent on short, small contracts. That's what we want to do. Young talent on short, small contracts. And then you got to look at the team he's playing on as well. Memphis, if you look at them right now, the Grizzlies, they're not that good. Right? The Grizzlies are 12-27. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. You know what I mean? So those we got to look at all of those type of things. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. I get that. I get it. He's putting up some good numbers on a decent contract, but it is for a bad team, and he is injury prone. Yes, Tony Crow, he is injury prone as well. Kawhi said Malachi Richardson would be a perfect fit, and he is someone we should look into this offseason because the Kings don't give him minutes, and he's got a lot of potential. He's got hella potential. Let's see where we're at. Where is he? Let's go back. Let's go back to the Kings. Let's see what we're looking at in him. Makes 1.5. But who will the Kings want from us for him? Right? I doubt that they're gonna want Billy because they're packed with bigs already. He's but 6'6", shooting guard. I think we really need to be looking more in the range, really looking at these. If we're going to trade Billy Hernangomez, I think we need to be looking at these small forwards, though. 6'8", 6'9" small forwards. That's what I'm thinking we need, because we need more length. We need more athletic. We need more athleticism. We've got a number of guys who are just like this. You got Tim Hardaway Jr., you got Courtney Lee, you got Dougie Fresh is 6'8", but you got Dotson. You got Frank who's 6'5". We got a number of guys that are this same size, and I think we need more length and more athleticism. But someone who can ball though. You know what I mean? If you can ball, you can ball, and you want ballers on the squad for sure. We want ballers on the squad for sure. But definitely, man, we're gonna be looking at a different team coming up soon. I am opening up the line so we can get some people come up, so we can get some people talk with us a little bit on Skype. If you would like to get on Skype, I'm gonna put the how you can get in touch with me in there. I'm working on the phone line thing, but it's not totally there. All right, it's not totally there, but it's coming soon. But I'm working on a phone line. But you want to look that up in Skype. Let's get on the line and let's get some people talking in. All right, let's get some people talking in. See what you guys think. But in the meantime, while we are getting ready to pull in a few Skype users, a few guests on Skype, let's talk about Chicago and New York. Because this is a game that we need to get. You know what I mean? We've gave up 2 to Chicago already. Both of them were close games. Both of them we could have and should have won. You know what I'm saying? We need to get this one. Yeah, Ntilikina, I appreciate it. It's growing. It's growing. It's you guys helping it grow, man. You know, and the more it grows, the more we're gonna be able to do some things together. You know, so if you guys can share this out to people, put it wherever you put it, so people can see it live. Because like if you share this out right now, they'll be able to come in live. Definitely. And I, excuse me, I appreciate you guys for it, for real. But okay, we got somebody calling in. I'm gonna get my headphones on. We're gonna get this person on the line. All right. We're gonna get this person on the line. All right, can I get your name, bro? Hello? Oh, Emmanuel, what's going on? You got some stuff playing in the background. I don't have you on live yet. There we go. Oh, hold on for 1 second. I'm clearing off a few things. All right. Okay, I got you on the line. I had to clear off a few things that were playing in the background. All right. What's going on, bro? How you feeling?
I'm chilling about the contracts. That's what I wanted to talk about because it's like, all right, who's up after this season? You,
Who's up for the Knicks?
yeah, who's up for the Knicks after this season? Whose contracts
All right.
is
So let's go back. Let's pull that up and look at it real quick. We'll talk about who's up for the Knicks after this season. Um, we don't have too many expiring this season.
hmm I know Kantaka opt out. O'Quinka opt out.
Right. You got
Jack is done
you
after
got
this season.
yeah. Jack is done. We got a few. Okay. So okay. We have a few, but nothing really big. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nothing big.
Right. We
So
got you got Beasley, Sessions, Jack. Kuzminskas is gone. That's
yeah,
it.
but we still paying him though.
That's it. So
He's still under the books. Even though he's going, he's still under the books.
um,
So
so we got coming off the books for this year. We got about, let me see, 3. That's 5. That's 7, 7.5, 9, uh, 11, about 12 mil. Oh, we got about 11, 11 million or so coming off the books. I have to really add it up, but somewhere around 10, 11, 12 million coming off of the books. But some of those guys, you got to look at, you know, will Jared Jack be back?
exactly. Will
Maybe.
he be? Well, we know Sessions is not going to be back if
Exactly. Sessions won't be back.
he's not
Beasley,
going to. Beasley, that's debatable. He's most likely going
you
to come
know,
back. Uh, I don't know.
you got, and then we got, let me see, Ron Baker has a player option at the end of the season. Kylo Quinn, we know, has a player option at the end of the season. And Cantor has a player option at the end of the season. Now, if
Baker's
those,
most likely going to opt in because nobody
yeah,
else is going
yeah,
to
yeah,
pick
yeah.
him up.
Yeah, Baker's
Yes,
opting in for sure. He's opting in. No one's gonna pick up that contract on Baker
Um,
right now. Kylo Quinn, I think, is gonna opt out. Cantor, I think he's gonna opt in. I think he's gonna opt in for that last to get that 18 million. He makes 18.6 million next year. I think he's gonna opt in.
my question is, if Cantor and O'Quinn both opt out, who are you? Who are you going? Who are you rolling with?
That's a good one. That's a real good one. Um,
Because the thing is, oh, if Cantor opts out, he's gonna want more than 17 a year. If not, he'll opt in for the 18. So
True, right. If he opts out, that means he believes he can get more than $18 million a year. That's why
exactly,
I don't think he opts out because I don't think he's gonna get more than $18 million a year. I think he's right at where his
he's
value
valued
his value. I think so because remember he got this contract. He got this contract. What 4 years ago?
at Utah.
Was it Utah or yeah at Utah? He got this contract when of course they thought he was going to be um they thought he was going to be a star. I'm assuming, in OKC, he went to the bench.
All right. So
You
if
know,
Cantor opts in, you take that away. So now you got to start looking at O'Quinn and Gomez.
Quinn and Gomez, exactly. So now we're looking at them two. We
So
got
now you're
Gomez
looking
on the
at
book too,
who you gonna trade. So now you got to look at who is it that you're looking forward to trade.
right?
And at the
And
moment, and at the moment, O'Quinn has more value
definitely,
because he's somebody that you could insert now,
right.
unlike Gomez. So I don't.
And O'Quinn, I think O'Quinn has more value to playoff contenders, right? And teams
Mhm.
that really need somebody that can come in and rebound and bang. But
That's
Billy,
exactly what I read. That's what I
yeah,
read in a
but
newspaper article that they want him as somebody coming off the bench.
right. But now
So
Billy, he can because he's younger than O'Quinn. Billy's like 23, O'Quinn is 27. And because he's younger than O'Quinn, he's on a really cheap contract, $1.4 million a year. And if you trade for him, you got him this year and you got him next year. If you're looking at teams that's like a San Antonio, teams that don't need someone to come in right now,
hmm
teams like that might be looking for
so at this point
Billy that they can
is
develop him.
basically is basically who offers you the best deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be who offers you the best deal. I think. I think with Kylo Quinn, I think they'll be looking to want it. I think the team wants to trade Kylo Quinn rather than Billy Hernan Gomez because he can opt out.
hmm
And if you let him opt out, you're probably not gonna sign him out
You
because
end up
Cantor,
losing.
right?
Yep.
Because Cantor is probably gonna opt in, right? You're already paying.
hmm
Then you're paying $18 million to Cantor, and then you're paying $18 million to Joakim Noah. If Kylo Quinn
hmm
opts out and let's say he wants 7 million, 8 million, you're probably not going to give it to him because you have three other centers on the team. So I think their mindset is if we can trade Kylo Quinn and get something for him before he opts out, instead of losing him, we lose him in the summer and get nothing for him. The
hmm
problem is teams knowing that Kylo Quinn can opt out of his contract, they're not going
Uh,
to give you a whole lot.
but
You know what I mean?
it's not that much of a loss because
Say that
even
again.
if my fault. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody was trying to call in.
All
Apologize
right.
about that. I
It's
gotta
not that
work
much.
that out a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. It's not that much of a loss because when you look at it, if we get rid of wait, hold on, let me think about it. If you get rid of um if you can't get rid of O'Quinn, he opts out, right?
hmm
And you decided to get rid of Willie now, then if we can afford O'Quinn, either way that clears space for us.
yeah.
So it's not that much of a loss, but not to that great of an extent because of his age.
Right,
as
right,
well.
right. And you can, and you'll be able to, you would clear you would clear out that salary space and be able to, try to pull somebody into that salary space.
Hmm.
But if you can trade them and bring
It's even
back a
better. Yeah,
second round pick, right? If you can trade Kyle Quinn and bring back a second round pick
it's even
or
better. Yeah,
something like that's even better. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got something for him and you can pick up another asset this year's draft, next year's draft, or something like that. Hope preferably this year's draft.
and I think
So
and I think McDermott got what this year, next year.
McDermott, yeah, McDermott has this year, and then he has a qualifying offer for next year. So he makes 3.2 million this year, and then his qualifying offer from the Knicks would be 4.5 million. And
I don't even know if that dude is worth that right now. Like,
so you know, we'll we'll
I don't even know if
we'll see
he's
what
worth that.
happens there. They could have, if they wanted to, they could have extended him earlier this season, right? But
Hmm.
of course they didn't because they wanted to see what they got in him. So we'll see what happens with that over the summer. So he could, his money could free up if they decided that they didn't want him.
Yeah, I don't see them resigning him
So
because he's
we'll see
not.
how that
He
works.
hasn't made out. He hasn't made out to what they were
Um,
expecting.
he's he does some things. I mean, he does some things that I like. I like the way
What, the back cuts and stuff like
I
that.
like the back cuts. I like the way he moves off the ball. He's getting better defensively, but he's not shooting well lately.
That's
You know what
my
I'm
that's my
saying?
problem.
Lately, he hasn't really been shooting well.
That's
You
my
know,
problem with him. Because
um,
if your your thing is shooting the three ball, and this whole entire season we haven't gotten that from you. All we've gotten is you running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. It's 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 not doing it for me. You're not adding value because you're taking away from the thing that you do the best. You feel what I'm saying?
right. Now, I
So
hear you. I hear you. And so yeah, so there's a lot of things this off season. There's going to be a lot of things going on, and I think that they will. I think that Steve Mills and Scott Perry. I think what they'll be doing is they're not gonna try to shorten the rebuild. I don't think. I think they're gonna continue to try to build towards the future. Look to bring in young players.
2020.
2020, right? Keep clearing off salary because in 2020, like we looked at before, in 2020, um, we got a lot of people off the books in 2020.
The Noah
That
contract,
salary.
especially.
Noah contract is gone. Tim Hardaway Jr. has a player option in 2020. Courtney Lee's contract is up in 2020. Lance Thomas' contract is up in 2020. Porzingis' contract is up in 2020.
Yeah, but you
But
could swap. You could
so
basically, because Porzingis is probably gonna want the max.
yeah,
So
yeah, the rookie, whatever that max is for his
yeah,
age or whatever, yep, he'll
but
probably want the max.
I don't
So
even know right now. He's not even worth like that
so
first player option money to me because he doesn't do well if he doesn't have like that secondary piece that attracts the. He did well. He did the. Damn, how could I explain this? He did very well when he had Carmelo on the other side, on the opposite side of him,
yeah,
because
well,
Carmelo demanded so much attention that it freed him up for him to be able to do what he does.
yeah,
If he doesn't have another somebody else that could do that for him, he's not as valuable.
I hear you.
And, and the,
I mean, but let's see what happens by 2020 though. He's got a lot of time to develop. By the
yeah,
time we get
he
to
had a lot of time to grow. Yeah,
2020, I mean, you figure that's 2 years from now. He's got, he'll bulk up some more. He's going through his struggles right now though. We give you that. He's going through his struggles.
you got to
Um,
learn. You got to learn how to start playing inside out.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's got to learn. I mean, he's got to learn right now. I think he's got to learn how to deal with the physicality of the game.
Yeah, but you
And
got to.
so
He's not driving to the basket. He all he does is come shoot. He gets doubled. He doesn't know how to pass out. He's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, right. I agree. He doesn't pass out of that double team. He's got to do a better job passing out of that double team. If he does that, his
make the defense pay and pass it to the
make
open man.
yep.
He's not doing that.
You
He's
pass
not
out of
doing
that
that at
double
all.
team, the ball can swing, and that'll help us shoot some more threes, get some more 3-point attempts up. He's
If
got to
not,
learn some things like that.
if not, he fall into the floor like an idiot, like he does half of the
Yeah,
time. Like he gets me upset. Like he's good. I love
yeah.
Porzingis, but there's a lot to his game right now that's missing.
He's got to learn
But he's only
exactly.
22, so
Right, he's got to learn it. So what we need to look for is, we see this year, how does he handle being a man, and then how does he come back next year and handle it?
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And then that's really what we can say. Okay, did he get better? We've seen all these things that he had a hard time with this year. Does he get better next year? That's part of the development of him and the team. But look, man, I got some other people I know want to call
uh,
in. All right, what was your name again?
It's Emmanuel.
Oh, it's Emmanuel. Okay. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, bro.
No
I
doubt.
hope definitely call in again.
hmm
All right, but we're gonna get some other people calling in.
All right, Reason.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. 2020 is that year, guys. 2020 is that year. Hopefully, Porzingis does develop to be who we think he can be. You know what I'm saying? And then he can, if he develops to be that guy, and then we got Tim Hardaway Jr. and we got, some of these other guys, we'll be able to look. We'll have so much money that year. We'll really be able to look and pick and choose to say, okay, here's how we're going to build that team. When guys that are young like Frank and KP, and we'll be able to get them guys up. Tony Crow is calling in. We got some of these other guys. We'll be able to look. Tony Crow, what's popping, bro?
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what I need you to do?
What's up?
Okay, I think you already turned it down.
Yep.
Okay, cool, good, because you had it up for a minute. But so what's popping,
Oh,
man?
okay.
What's going on with you?
Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. Big fan.
All right, appreciate
Um,
it, brother.
man. One, I want to write this article. I want to put it on the website. And basically, it's the why I think we should trade Joakim Noah for Luol Deng.
Okay,
I'm not gonna get into all the details. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna let you proofread it, and you tell me what you think,
okay,
and
that sounds
we
good.
could go from there.
That sounds good. I'm with that. I'm with that. Yeah.
That's
I mean, that's a that's definitely a good thought. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just. I know you don't want to get into it or anything. You know what I'm saying? So we're not gonna get real deep into it. But I'm just gonna take a look at what Joakim Noah's. I mean, Luol Deng's salary is like. Because their salaries, I
oh
think their
oh.
salary is about the same.
Listen, yeah, I got it all. I got it all right here. I got all my facts. Joakim Noah 17,765. Luol Deng 17,190. You still there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they both got 3 years left.
Yep.
Deng is mad right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
He is. Yeah. Dang is
and
mad right now.
yeah, I'll get into the details with you
Okay.
later.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
That's
check
what's
in
up.
with you later. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. That sounds good, man. That sounds good. Let's do it.
Thanks, man.
Let's do it.
You go ahead, take some more calls.
All right. All right, Tony.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah. That's I'm interested to see what Tony has to say in that article, man. That's that's definitely a thought. And when you look at it, you know, Deng is a long three. He may not be as athletic as he was, back in the day. He was never really that athletic guy, but he was someone who could get it done. You know what I'm saying? But that is a legitimate 3-man in the NBA that can play defense, and their contracts match up. Okay, who we got coming and calling in? What's going on? This is Simeon, man.
Hey, what's
Uh,
going on, Sammy?
what's up? Who
Hey,
we talking to?
this is the John.
John. What's going on, John?
Yes, I had a thing. If we trade, Willie, since we're not playing him anyways, or Kyle Quinn, I was thinking maybe Mario Hezonja for the Magic, so we need more three-point shooting. I
Okay.
think just Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway isn't good enough to play with Fred Hoiberg, and we might get some more picks, that can shoot some threes. But I think since Hezonja, I think he's on last year of his contract, and
Now,
since he's not playing well, I think if we re-sign him, he's not going to be expensive.
yeah, his Hezonja is.
I think he's like 6'7", 6'8".
He's like 6'7", 6'8". He's making
He's
$4
not a
million dollars a
defender,
year.
but he's lanky.
So I mean, he's probably he's probably like I've seen him play a little bit.
I
Maybe
mean, he's
something like a
streaky,
Doug
but
McDermott a little bit.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
McDermott type of player.
he's not like athletic or anything, but I think we need more three-point shooters, and we need to get away from like the slow pace with Cantor and O'Quinn. I think that might be why you're seeing Porzingis struggle because no one besides Tim Hardaway and uh, maybe Courtney Lee when he gets hot. Besides those two, nobody's really a perimeter shooter. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And he could be. He makes $4 million a year. If we trade Billy Hernan Gomez, we got to throw in something else because you got to match the salaries. You know, is he playing? Is he playing for Orlando? I mean, I know
he's
he's playing, but is he getting playing time?
he wasn't playing for like the first 15 games,
Uh,
and then I think he was he was streaky like the last 10. I don't know if he's been playing the last two games, but like I think we need more spacing or Porzingis because I mean he's not making good decisions, when he gets double teamed. But then also, like who's he got?
yeah,
Since Tim Hardaway was out, you only got Courtney Lee, but he's also a streaky, shooter. He's not you know, a deadly shooter. So
yeah. Now, I definitely agree with you. We need more 3 point. We need people who can shoot the three to help spread the floor. Because it's hurting us. We complain about guys not penetrating, but
right,
part
right,
of the reason, and we talked about it in the last show, part of the reason guys don't penetrate is because we're not spreading the floor, we're not opening the floor up. You know, so the lane is clogged. We need guys that can spread that floor, penetrate to the basket. I mean, I'm sorry, spread the floor, open up the lane so we can penetrate to the basket, and then it's gonna play off of each other. You know what I'm saying?
right. I think it just I mean Porzingis, like I think he's struggling right now. Like he's not able to finish through contact. He gets a lot of the ticky-tacky fouls. And he complains about some, sometimes he doesn't, but I think it would help him to get, more spacing. Might not be that good of a defense if you play Mario, but I think for offensive purposes, I think he could be a good fit.
Could be a good fit. And so I guess since his contract is up this year, they probably look to see what happened, what they're gonna do with uh, Doug McDermott.
Right, right. Oh, you
You
mean the
know,
Knicks?
the Knicks, right? The Knicks. Since Mario's contract is up this year, they'll probably look to see what they're gonna do. The Knicks will look to see what they're gonna do with Doug McDermott, and that may be an option if they decide not to offer, not to submit a qualifying offer to Doug McDermott.
Right,
Then
right.
that may be an option. But then that's kind of going against what you're saying. You're saying we need to add another one, and if you're just substituting Mario for Doug McDermott, then you're really not solving the problem. I
Right. I
definitely
mean,
get what you're saying though.
defensive players. I think it's at the moment, maybe Stanley Johnson. The guys that you're looking for, but they're not really on the market. Like
Right,
I think
right.
Detroit's maybe looking one more year with. Stanley before they might ship him off. So
Right, right, and
I was thinking of like Rondé, but like he's a key player for the Nets. So
yeah,
who you got? That's a wing that's young. I think all the
right,
teams want to keep him. So
and like I think someone said earlier in the chat, we're probably going to be looking to the draft to find one of those three men. Just to find a small forward, a long small forward that could play defense, young guy that can get up and down the floor. You know,
yeah,
but
I'm hoping we can get someone like Brandon Ingram size, but there's not that many. In this draft, I'm seeing maybe the guy I think that plays for the Michigan State Bridges, but
yeah, and
I don't see that many.
um, those guys, those type of guys, they're such a commodity. It's such a commodity because that's the way the league is going. The league is going long and versatile, and that three-man spot is such a powerful position in the NBA. When you look at the type of guys in the NBA that play that three-man spot, from LeBron to Melo, Paul George. I mean, a lot of your stars play that play that position because it's such a, you know, I mean that's an all-around position, from rebounding, scoring, getting assists. That's really an important position on the floor. So those guys are not easy to come by.
Yeah,
The,
that's why I
the
like
kind of guys that we're saying we need for the team. They're not easy to come by.
right. That's why I was looking more like a 3-point shooter because they're a little bit easier to trade than
Right.
those young guys that you're looking for because the teams they all know to defend the threes and the fours you got to get the lanky guys so they're all gonna keep them because they're
Exactly.
cheap and
Yeah.
young. So
Right. Right. You really we're gonna have to really have that perfect storm. A team that has one or two of those guys, and they need a big.
right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? We're gonna have to find that perfect storm, and I'm not sure if it's out there.
Yeah, I
You know?
think all looking towards the draft right now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Scott Perry and Steve Mills and them guys do. Um, at the trade deadline and this summer. And trade deadline day, I'm gonna be on. Try to be on throughout most of the trade deadline day. Try to stay updated. I know we'll be at work, stuff like that, but
Yeah. And
but
one last thing, I think Phil Jackson, I think he's been a bad like a recruiter, but I think he's done a good job of drafting. I mean, not everything is his call, but getting Frank and AP, I think two good moves.
yeah, I
Actually, I don't
think
know if he got Frank. I don't know if he got fired before the. I forgot.
no, he drafted Frank. Phil
Yeah.
drafted Frank, and then he got fired afterwards. I think that I honestly think that Phil Jackson did a pretty good job drafting and pulling in players. If you look at our team, half of our team this year comes from Phil Jackson,
Yeah.
right? Let's go. Let me see. Let me pull this back just so we can look at our roster real fast. But yeah, half of our team comes from Phil Jackson. Okay. Now, of course, we know about the Joakim Noah contract. Courtney
Right.
Lee was brought in by Phil Jackson. Lance Thomas was brought in by Phil Jackson. Porzingis, Ron Baker, Kylo Quinn, Frank Ntilikina, Billy Hernan Gomez, Damian Dotson. These guys were all brought in by Phil Jackson. So he's
Yeah. I just
definitely
think he's
had,
made bad business moves, like really bad. In terms of trying to get a free agent to New York, but it's one of those things where double-edged swords where you know what you're gonna get from him. Like as far as drafting wise, he was I think he was good, but some of
yeah,
those contracts like Noah and I mean personally I think Hardaway we pay a little bit too much for him, but like the drafting I think was done really
yeah.
good.
I think he did a decent job drafting. This is where I think Phil really messed up. I think one, his ego got in the way. You know, so I think that hurt us. His ego got in the way. The whole
Yeah,
thing with Carmelo Anthony, it was crazy. someone like Scott Perry would have done a much better job
Thing is,
handling that whole
insisting
thing
with
with.
triangle was his demise. You can't let you know uh, the coach learn the triangle on the job. It's,
Right, right,
it's one of the stupidest things I ever seen. But
yeah, and I understand that you want to have a philosophy, right, and that's good. You want to have a philosophy of play, but a certain system is not the only. There's not only one system that can implement a certain philosophy. He should have been a little more open to playing a different style as long as they were playing with the same philosophy. The philosophy of the triangle is to have versatile players, uh, share the basketball, move the ball, move without the ball, right? And then people don't realize this, but your offense goes a long way into setting up your defense, right? If if you have a good system on offense, moving the ball, people are in the right spots, then you miss a shot, whatever it is, you get back on defense. You're in position and you're in the right spot to get back on defense. And if you're and if you got guys thinking the right way, guys who have good floor balance and know where to be on the floor, you can get back in transition defense and you're set up. That's what Phil Jackson was trying to establish with the triangle. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? And he could have allowed Hornacek to allowed Hornacek to coach his style, but here's the philosophy. Here's certain things that I need to see from the team, kind of like Scott Perry is doing now, you know. And then he could have, and if he wanted to implement I think every system nowadays has triangle aspects of the triangle in it. Every single system that's out there, and they could have implemented some triangle type of things. But the players we had last year just wasn't suited for the triangle. Derrick Rose wasn't suited for the triangle, and I think so. I think Phil Jackson had the right idea and wanting to have a philosophy of basketball that establishes your team identity, and then having like the G League team, they play the same system so that you're grooming players to come right up into your system. That's the same type of thing that San Antonio does. I think he had the right ideas. I don't think he knew how to implement those ideas, and then of course his ego got in the way, and I think that's where he messed up. But at one point, I felt like we were on the right course, and then he blew it up to bring in Derrick Rose, which was a team that, while I'm not gonna lie, I was excited because I felt like we were gonna have a more exciting team that could possibly get into the playoffs. But I knew that even if we had made the playoffs that year, that we were a team that was just gonna meddle in the middle of the pack and never really go anywhere. Because we just, we didn't have the makeup of a championship team with those kind of players. It was just kind of like dragging players together and putting them there. We didn't really grow or build anything organically. Now, with what we have now, we're kind of, we got players that we're drafting and we're growing and we're developing. It's growing organically, and so I think we're in a good direction. We're in a good space. But I think that's but Phil Jackson, I thought, had us in a good space at one point before he traded for Derrick Rose. We had Lopez and Melo was there. We had KP. I thought that we were, on the right. We were moving in the right direction at that point, and then he kind of blew it up. But I think now, I think we're in the right direction, and I don't think Scott Perry is gonna blow it up to make the playoffs. I think he's gonna do the right things to try to build a contender, not just make the playoffs. I'm not saying don't make the playoffs. If we can make the playoffs and stick with our plan of going young on short contracts, small contracts, with players that want to play hard, hustle, get up and down the floor. If we can make the playoffs and stick with our plan, I'm all for that. So
Yeah, I think this year is gonna be really close. I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I don't know if we have the depth towards the end. I think we got all the front guys, the front court guys, but our backcourt I think is too thin,
yeah,
to
yeah.
get to that stage. But yeah, I agree. Like if Phil Jackson was able to, bring Melo along, to that system, I think it would have been good. But Melo wasn't buying any of it. So
Right.
that was his
Yeah,
demise. Like he didn't buy any of that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he did. He probably didn't. You know, one thing. When Phil Jackson got with Michael Jordan was a little bit younger. So when you're a little bit younger, you're a little bit. You're willing to listen and learn a little bit more. Melo was kind of older, stuck in his ways, and to his defense, the way that he had been playing got him to where he was. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah, I just wish Melo was, like you see him playing with OKC. He's basically a spot up shooter now.
yeah.
But I just wish he could have been more dynamic with his playmaking because
If
he could have
and
been a really good player.
Yeah, because the thing is, Melo has he had the skills. He has the skills to do it. And if he would have, I'm not saying that he had to play second fiddle to anyone, but if he would have just played more within the offense, didn't isolate all the time. I mean, I like Melo. I'm a big Melo fan, but there were times when I was like, "Come on, you don't have to isolate right now. Let's keep the ball moving. Let's keep the ball swinging." If he would have worked into it a little bit better, his team, let's put it like this: if you take Melo and put him on this team right here with the same players we have, which we wouldn't have the same players if we had Melo, but if he was on this team with the same players we have, and he worked a little bit more into the offense, isolated only when necessary, this team would be really, really good. That's if we can, that's one spot, one area where we're missing a player at that three spot that can do the things that Melo could do. But you need a guy that can do the things that Melo could do, but only when it was necessary to do it. And he still would have got 20, 20, 22, 23, 24 points a game because he was such a good shooter. And he can play off the ball. And he can be a spot up shooter and knock it down, so.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks for
but
the
listen,
call though.
yeah, definitely. Hey, thank you for calling in. I know we got some other people that want to call in, so I'm gonna open it up to other people to call in. What was? Oh, okay. All right. You say what is the Skype? I'm gonna put it up here again. Score 35. Something I'm working on too is to maybe make it a little bit easier to find me. What I might start using is Google Hangouts, where I can just put a link up and then you guys can click on the link. I was trying to get a custom URL, something like that, but right now Skype is working pretty good, so we'll keep it going. When you guys are whoever calls in, I don't have a switchboard here, so it's kind of first come first serve. All right. Oh, somebody would call, then they cut off. But next caller, what I would like you to do, hopefully you have a SAK. You calling in. Hopefully you have. Hopefully you can have a little bit to say about this Chicago game. All right. You on the line? All right. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pass you through to everybody else. Uh, all right. We got. How do I say your name?
SK.
SK. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm saying it the right way. We got SK on the line, people. What's going on, bro?
Not much. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. So what's up? So what you
I'm
want to bring
sorry.
to the
I'm over
table?
here hearing the playback, and I'm like, where we at? Like, I
Oh,
couldn't hear you.
yeah.
I just want to say, first off, thank you for bringing us together, all our Knicks fans. Knicks fans, what's up?
All right. Appreciate that.
Um,
Definitely.
my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. I agree with you say about Phil Jackson, about Melo. I kind of think Melo deserved what he got because he was just selfish. Like he didn't play defense, he didn't pass the ball, and he had the ability to do it, which pisses me off. Like he's a great player, he just had the ability, and he chose not to.
Yeah. Right. Right. He did. He was in his stubborn ways, and some of it is, I think a guy like Melo wasn't the kind of guy that was going to be, in your face, and he wasn't trying to cause anything, right? And I
Hmm.
think if Phil Jackson was a little bit more, uh, I don't know, if he was just a little bit more open, I think maybe it could have
Mm.
worked. I think part of it was on Phil too. When you look at
Hmm.
someone like Mike Woodson, right? Mike Woodson was able to reach him.
I love Woodson
You
too.
know,
Love
he,
Woodson.
he right. He was able to reach Melo. And then if you would have had Jared Jack
Hmm.
with Melo,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, because his best years was with great point guards, J. Kidd, Chauncey. Yeah,
Right. And if you would have had a Jared Jack is a guy that from the same area,
hmm,
so they've known who each other was growing up, playing against each other in AAU and all that kind of stuff. He would have had a certain level of respect for Jared Jack, where
facts,
Jared Jack could be like, no, this is not what we're doing right now. We're going here. We're doing this. We're doing that. You know what I'm
facts.
saying? And we never had that kind of point guard. Derrick Rose wasn't that guy.
I mean, J. Kidd did it like a little bit.
J. Kidd did it, right? But Phil Jackson he didn't bring Jason Kidd in. That was
I think Woody, right?
Mike Woodson and them guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, who brought in, and they had the right philosophy around Melo, right?
facts. That's true.
You had a point guard that he respected, that could run the team, run the offense, run the show on the floor. Then you have vets around him that he. What was Melo gonna say to Rasheed Wallace? You know what I'm saying? So you had guys around him that he respected, and so
Facts.
he was gonna play. He was gonna play the game the right way, and they put together a good team there. You know what I'm saying? Because you had even with guys like you had Stoudemire, you had Tyson Chandler, you had Carmelo and Melo, Amari, Tyson. Tyson was you know kind of a leader type of guy, a hard working,
Yeah.
hard hat type of guy. You know what I'm saying? But then you had them vets around him that they was gonna listen to those guys. Jay Kidd, Rasheed Wallace, I think Marcus Camby, I think was
Yeah.
on the team. They was gonna listen to them guys. And after that though, when those guys, when Phil Jackson came in and tore it down, tried to
Tore it
rebuild it,
down.
he didn't bring in those kind of guys. Even though at that point Melo was the vet, you still could bring in other vets that he respected.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Melo would get out of line, but I'm saying respected on the court. You know what I'm saying? And I think a guy like Jared Jack, Melo would have respected him, and I think we would have seen a different team. Because
Facts.
once Jay Kidd um, retired, that's when you really start to see the team fall off because we were missing that
Decline.
basketball
Yeah.
IQ. Right,
Yep.
we were missing what Jason Kidd brought to the team, and Raymond Felton just wasn't that guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Nah.
so
I mean, my bad to cut. I just want to
no,
make
go
a
ahead.
quick point. I got to make a quick point about this, and then I got another quick point, a discussion, hopefully, and then I'm gonna let you open it up for the Chicago, New York people who, I mean, looking
All
forward to
right,
that game.
sound good.
I just want to say quick about that Knicks team. I feel like that Knicks team is severely underrated. That Knicks team, I remember at the middle of the season, they blew a great Portland team out. With that Portland team was hot that year. They beat them by like 40 points, and Portland immediately into rebuild after that. Next thing you know, you hear Steve Kerr. Oh, Steve Kerr may sign with the Knicks. He goes to Golden State, and next thing you know, Golden State starts playing the exact offense we was playing. Shoot a lot of
They did.
threes. So that came from us, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my other thing is, I was talking about the Tyreek Evans. You know what I mean? That was the one. kind of spamming it because I wanted to see what you thought about it. I really feel like that lineup of my son Frank Nitty, THJ, Evans, KP, and Cantor, that's like kind of deadly. Like they don't seem that crazy, but you're talking about scoring from every position. With Beasley coming off the bench, you know what I mean? You have scoring from every position. Frank, even if he can't run the offense right now, he's still 3 and D.
Mm-hmm.
THJ, he could run the offense a little bit. Then you got Evans in there. And the great thing about all three of them, they can switch positions. They can all switch the positions around. You know what I mean? And that's where the game is going at this point. To
Right.
versatility more than, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
that's why I'm kind of like really heavy on Tyreke
Okay.
Evans. You know what I
I,
mean?
I
Uh,
hear you. I hear you. I mean, Tyreek, he's from from looking at, I haven't really been watching him that much, but
mhm.
from just looking at his stats, he's definitely doing his thing. But like I was saying, my only concern is if you trade for him, are you
Yeah.
giving up something young and then we can't afford him the next year, and then
Mm.
we gave up something young and then really didn't get anything back.
But see,
You know,
I don't think I'm
um,
really concerned about that because he was on Sacramento and they traded him for DeMarcus. I mean they traded him when he got DeMarcus Cousins pretty much. Like he hasn't been a franchise piece. He used to be one. He loved it. He relished in that role. And if you bring him to a New York team and says, "Look, we're building for a championship. We got guys who's going to be here for years. You can be a part of this team for years." If you give him
hmm
that and give him a defining role, I'm pretty sure he'll stay because let's be honest, who's really checking for him at this point? Memphis was never going to make the playoffs. They lucky
right,
he surprised them.
right. They're not gonna make the playoffs, and and you could be right. Who knows? Excuse me. Who knows what his market is going to be? You know what I mean? I mean, Derrick Rose averaged he averaged 18 points a game last year, and he still only got the veterans minimum.
Facts.
And because Tyreek Evans is, he's injury prone too. So
True.
you never know what his market is going to be. It's definitely something to look out for. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? It's something to look out for because the trade deadline is coming. I don't expect that they're going to make crazy changes,
Yeah,
but
me neither.
I think that anything that they do is going to be salary cap friendly. It's going to
Hmm.
be they'll be looking for draft picks and young players. And so when I say salary cap friendly, Tyreek Evans making $3 million a year, that's salary cap friendly. And the fact
Facts.
that he comes off the books could also mean something. So you never know. I
Yeah.
think they're looking at all options right now. You
All
know,
right, man. Well, thank you for the convo. We need Mark Jackson. That's all I gotta say. We need Mark
I
Jackson,
feel
bro.
you. Okay.
I'm gonna open the lines up for everybody else. You know what I mean? Knicks
Oh,
fans. You know what I mean? Stay good. My name was SK, bro. Have a
oh,
good night.
all
Thank
right,
you.
SK. Good one. Later. All right, guys. I'm gonna be on for about 10 more minutes. I really want to, just talk a little bit about the Chicago game. Really, basically just for, because at the end, this gets automatically uploaded to YouTube. So, it's part of what I do is, talk about the next game a little bit. So, I would like whoever calls in next, excuse me, have a little bit something to say about the Chicago game. All right, if you can, because it's definitely a game that we need if we want to stay in that playoff contention. Because if you look right now, with tonight's win or last night's win, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Last night's win, we are okay. I'm gonna pull this guy in. With last night's win, hey, give me 1 second, Kawhi. All right, Kawhi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
All right.
With last night's win, and I'm saying last night because it's 1 o'clock right now. We are 19 and 21. We are a game and a half out of the eighth seed. So right now you got Philadelphia above us, 19 and 19. Indiana is 20 and 19. So we're still right there in the mix. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely need to beat Chicago. Chicago right now is 14 and 26, lost one game. Philadelphia is hot. They won four straight. So we need to beat Chicago. It's a team that we could beat, should beat. Right? We've lost two close ones to them in Chicago. and it's a team that I think we need to take care of them at home. All right, Kawhi, what's up?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
All right.
First up, man, I want to thank you for doing this. Thank you for bringing us all together. I really like this. I tune in after every game. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely. I love it.
So I want to ask you what you think about the Chicago game. Two hard-fought games that we had both in Chicago, two winnable games we should have won. I know we got it at the Garden this time, and I know that we're a better home team. So, what do you think we can pull it out? I mean, obviously, because we're a better home team.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I definitely I think we can pull it out because we're a better home team. We play much better at home, so I think we can pull it out. I'm concerned that hopefully Beasley will be back, right? Because we beat Dallas tonight, but Dallas, they're not that good of a team. Chicago's not that good of a team either, but they're better than Dallas and they're more athletic. And for whatever reason, it feels like they match up. They match up with us really well. And although we've had leads on them in both games that we played them, so I think at home we should be able to handle them. If we come
That's
out,
what I'm saying. Because I noticed down the stretch, both times last time, we had a lead and we just blew it. And I know last time, people were talking about how marketing got the best of KP. And I just think, first off, third time's a charm. And I also think that because we got him at the Garden, it's going to be a lot different, a lot better.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot different because we have him at the Garden. And we should be, if the team, the players, are really looking to make the playoffs, we should be in desperate mode right now. You know what I'm saying? We should feel like, that we're at a point in our season that where we could collapse if we don't come out and play. And so I think that hopefully the team has that mentality right now. And I think if we have that mentality, I think we can come out and get this win. We need this win.
Do you think this upcoming game against Chicago, especially at the Garden, and Chicago being not really a weak team, but a team that we have struggled against, do you think this could be a game that we start Frank finally?
I don't think that Hornacek is looking to start Frank. I think it's a game that we could, if you were going to choose a game to start him, this is the kind of game I think you could choose to start him. But I think Hornacek right now, from at least from what I read, he's not really looking to start Frank. He's happy with him coming off the bench right now, and will maybe look. I think he's going to look to see where we are when we get to like March. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe the end of February, March, to see where we are in terms of the playoff race. And I think if we're in the playoff race, I think that he's going to continue to start Jack, and we'll be looking at Frank maybe not starting until next year. If the Knicks are out of that playoff race, or usually you're not mathematically counted out until late March. But if it looks like we're probably not going to make the playoffs, then I think he'll take that leap and start Frank. But I think that he's going to stick with Jack for a while because Jack is having his troubles. excuse me, sometimes defensively. We know that, but just his experience, and being able to, starting the game, being able to, start the game with some kind of poise. I think that's what I think I think Hornacek is comfortable with it.
Right. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I think he's comfortable with that, and he's not yet comfortable with Frank's poise from the beginning of the game. I think, Frank, and we've seen early in the season, although he's a poised player, when he finally got comfortable with his team, you can see that he's poised. But if you notice, in the beginning of the season, it was a tough game for him to open up against OKC. It's such a big game.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
did. He struggled, and that's a tough place to make your debut into
it,
with those
it
fans.
yeah, exactly. You know, you're in OKC. Melo got traded to OKC. You're going up against Westbrook. You know that was tough. So he was a little bit nervous. Um, you know, of course he calmed down and now he's kind of in the flow. He had a good game tonight. Almost had a triple double, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. You know, that's a nice stat line. But I think that you know, just knowing that Jared Jack has been there countless times, he's not going to be nervous anytime he steps on the floor. He's not going to be nervous in a big game. And while Frank most of the time doesn't seem nervous, he seems to be calm, cool, and collected. I don't think you can help if you're 19 years old and you're coming into a game and you're like, if we lose this game, we might be out. We might not make the playoffs. That's a lot for a young guy to deal with at 19. You know what I'm saying? Especially
Yeah.
when you have a tried and true veteran there to say, here, let me show you how it's done. And then you can come in, you know, and take over. So I think that, you know, Jared Jack is one of the bona fide leaders of the team. And I'm not talking about just from his performance on the floor, but just a leader, overall leader of the team. You know, and so I think that that's what Hornacek is comfortable with right now.
Yeah, right. I think
Yeah.
I even commented before. I did say that I kind of view Jared Jack this season as more like a placeholder until, Frank was ready to come into his own.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen till next year, then you know what? It's no big deal, really. Because remember, we didn't have high hopes coming into the season anyway.
Yeah.
So I figure that, if we make the playoffs, it's just a plus. But if we don't, at least we know, Frank gets a year of experience under his belt.
Right.
KP gets another year under his belt, especially KP being the guy. And, we'll be better off next year.
Right. But all that being said, I was saying that from my perspective of, where I think Hornacek is coming from, and I understand. I would like to see Frank start though. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I don't mind that he doesn't. I just feel like if Frank starts and you hand the keys over to him, I think we're gonna see a different. I think we're gonna see a different. Maybe the first 2 games he might be a little bit nervous, but then once he really falls into it, I think we're gonna see a different Frank, and I think we'll see a more aggressive Frank. That's my opinion. So I still think we need Jared Jack though.
No,
Starting and
I
not,
agree
we
with you.
need Jared Jack because he brings that veteran leadership. But I would like to see Frank Ntilikina start. I would like to see him start. I'd like to see what it looks like when he starts. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, no, I agree with you, especially since, I've looked at how some of the other superstars, when they first came into the league, you got LeBron, even Giannis. Giannis didn't have all that hype coming in, but Milwaukee just threw him into the fire and look at what they got. So,
right, right. And I think you can you throw him into the fire and see what he does because you can start the game. You can always take him out of the game. Especially the first 5 minutes of the game, a lot of times. Sometimes you get a team come out and they jump on you. But for the most part, the first 5 minutes of the game is a filling out process, you know. And, so the game is, guys are just getting warmed up, those type of things. But I think that, I think you can give the kid a go, see what he can do. I understand Hornacek's thinking, though. That's why, I'm not upset about it because I understand his thinking. But I would like to see Frank start. I just want to see what it looks like. KP and Frank supposed to be our 2 of our building blocks, but they don't get that much playing time together on the floor. I'd like to see them 2 play more together. But as the season goes on, Frank's getting more and more playing time, working himself into becoming more and more important to the team. So, you know, I'm still willing to be patient.
yeah, no, I completely feel you, man. I just got one more thing.
Sure. Yeah. No.
So, what concerns me is when you look into the contracts, especially the contracts of some of these other teams,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really hard until 2020 to get Joakim Noah off the books. I mean, no other team, especially any contending team that would need a veteran presence like Noah's, no other team either they don't have the type of contract that Noah has to swap, or they just wouldn't. Like Golden State, the only type of contracts they have that are even, applicable would be like we would have to give them like Noah and Cantor to get like one of their like big contract players. So it does concern me that we might have to wait till 2020 to get Noah off the books.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the case, unless in 2019, 2018, 2019, a team is trying to clear some cap space and are willing to trade for him and use him for 1 year because they want to get rid of a big contract that goes 2 or 3 years down the line. That's the only time. That's the only way I think we'd be able to trade him, but that wouldn't be until next season anyway. But for the most part, I think he's going to be on the books until 2020. It wouldn't make any sense to, people say to waive him and then we pay his contract out over the next 5 years. To stretch him, it'd be no reason. It wouldn't make any sense to me to use the stretch provision on him, because the stretch provision, if you stretch him now, then you still got to pay him $7 million over the next 5 years or something like that, and so he's still hitting our cap. I think the best thing to do is to just let his contract play out and then go on from there. That's probably going to be the best thing to do, and whatever we can get from him, we get from him. I think that he can, especially if we are in playoff contention. I think he can be of value. Yeah, I definitely think he can be of value if we're in playoff contention.
Nah, man, I completely agree. I also think that, especially with free agency coming up and with the possibility of KO opting out, I think at this point we might as well trade him, since we probably could get a Kyle Quinn type player on the market. Look at what happened to Biyombo. Look at the type of contract. Biyombo had the same breakout when Toronto made that run to the finals. So we could easily get a player like that on the market. Younger, probably, high energy guy. So I'm thinking we trade him, see what we can get for him.
And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think they're probably going to trade him, especially since his contract, he can opt out. You don't want to get nothing for him. So I think they'll probably look. That's who they would prefer to trade. And we read it in the article earlier. I think that's who they would prefer to trade is Kyle Quinn, and then try to get something for him. And yeah, you're right. You probably, can you find a player that has the same kind of grit? It's hard. It's not easy, but they're out there, and you can find them. And you can find guys that, come up and give you some of the same kind of production. We might even have our own guys. Joakim Noah, he can. I think Joakim Noah can still come in. He doesn't have the same kind of mid-range that Kyle Quinn has, but he can still come in and give you 10 rebounds a game if he had those kind of minutes, or rebound at that kind of rate.
That's what I'm saying. At this point in his career, since Joe is so old, I'm thinking at this point he's not so old, but he's not the player he once was. So I'm thinking, if we could just maybe get a couple rebounds out of him, any type of scoring we get out of him is a plus, but just any type of defense we can get out of him at this point. If we're going to pay him all that money, we might as well see if we can get out of it for the time being.
Right. Try to get something out of it. If we don't, try to get something out of it, especially if you trade Kyle Quinn, you're going to have to try to get something out of Joakim Noah. Now, then it's going to be who plays, Billy Hernangomez or Joakim Noah. So there's definitely there's some things that's going to be going on within the next month or so. Today is the 7th. The trade deadline is February 8th at 3 p.m. So, we'll be looking to see what goes down.
We got time. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to this Bulls game. I think it's going to be different, though. I think, to be honest with you, we play a lot different at the Garden, and I think this team is hungry, especially seeing how the last two games finished. I think they realized we know we're the better team, and I think they're going to get it done this time.
Yeah. And I hope so. And I seen someone say earlier, I think it was Marty Knicks, he said earlier, Jarrett Jack kind of hurt us against Chris Dunn and them guys in the previous two games, and we'll see. Maybe Frank can get a little bit more burn down the stretch, help us out defensively, or against those guys. But we'll see what happens. We need this win. I think this is a big win for us, even though we're not playing against, a team with a great record. This is a big win for us.
Now we
So
need this win.
we need it.
Look at what
We need
look
it.
at that streak Chicago went on when they beat us. They were on a pretty big winning streak after they beat
Yeah.
us the first time. So maybe we could start something coming off this win in Dallas. Get a
That's what
home
I'm
win,
saying.
get another win on the road. We could start something.
Right. We get this win, and then we go to Minnesota and try to pull that out. Minnesota is, I don't want to skip over Chicago, but Minnesota is 25-16. Maybe a team that we can deal with a little bit. They have some athletes there, we know that, but we deal with Chicago, win 2 in a row, have a little bit of confidence, and then go into Minnesota, see what we can do with Minnesota. But that's what makes, because we played Minnesota, that's what makes this game so important. You don't want to let one get away that you're supposed to win when you're going to play against a tough team like Minnesota. So we want to get this, and then if we look after we play Minnesota, Wednesday night is Chicago, Friday night is Minnesota, Sunday is at home versus the Pelicans at 3:30. And then Monday night is Monday at 3:00 is Brooklyn. So, if we can find a way to do something against Minnesota.
Yeah, those are all winnable
We
games.
got winnable games
Every game
coming
after
up.
Minnesota, those are
Right.
winnable games.
At home versus the Pelicans, at Brooklyn, at Memphis, at
Yeah.
Utah. Those are games we can win. At Los Angeles, those are games we can win, even though some of them are on the road. So this is definitely an important game. All right, well, Kawhi, thank you for calling. I think I'm gonna get ready to log off because
Thank you for having
it's
me.
pretty
Be good,
late.
brother.
All right, definitely. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, I am going to log off for the night. It's 1:30 in the morning. I do want to let you know this. Let me see. Friday. Let me go back a little bit further. This Friday, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to be on this Friday. I'll definitely be on Wednesday. Not sure if I'm going to be on Friday. I'm not sure how things are going to work on versus the Pelicans and how things are going to work versus Brooklyn. I'm visiting. I'm going to visit some family, and so I'll be spending some time with them. So I'm not sure how things are going to work out for those games, but we'll talk about that a little bit more on Wednesday. Even if I don't see the game, I'll try to at least get on the live stream for a little bit if I can, and talk, and so we can talk it up and chat it up, but I'll keep you posted and let you know what's going on. All right. It was a good talk. I think it was a good show tonight. A lot of people called in. Everybody sleep safe. I'll check you out on Wednesday. My man Frank Nitty, good game. Hopefully I got some new things that I'm gonna showcase on Wednesday. I'm keeping it coming. We growing. We're doing some things. All right, y'all. Peace. Oh, what you're gonna see next is gonna be my end screen for those who watch the video afterwards. So, I'm gonna do a little bit of talking as I do the end screen, but it's kind of for the uploaded video. All right, peace, fellas and ladies, if you're on. If you like this live stream, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you can get a notification anytime that I'm live. Check out the videos over to this side, and peace.